Hi there, it's Michelle from CNC Designs. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in New Zealand, and I'm here to bring you another Global Monthly Video Hop. So once a month, myself and demonstrators from around the world do videos based on a theme, and then we share it with everybody. So this month's theme is One Sheet Wonder, also known as OSW. Sorry, couldn't think. So if you're looking that up, search for One Sheet Wonder or OSW. I've already done videos in the past. You can search my videos to see other ones that I've done regarding the One Sheet Wonder. But basically what it is you take one sheet of cardstock or designer series paper, you cut it up, and then you use it for a whole bunch of projects. Usually, you try to make lots of different cards out of the one piece of designer series paper. Now, before I forget, in the description below, not only will I share the names and product codes of everything I show you today, so if you wish to order anything, contact your demonstrator and use those product codes, or if you're in New Zealand and don't have a demonstrator, you can go to michellekritchley.stampinup.net to contact me, and you can order directly or contact me and I can order things for you. But the other thing you'll find in the description will be links to the other demonstrators who are participating in this month's video hop. So I'm going to show you some ideas here, but once you're done, please like my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to know when I've got other videos coming out, but click on the links so you can see other ideas with One Sheet Wonders. Now we're all going to do different things. I have no idea what paper others are going to use. I have no idea what designs they're going to make, but I'm going to show you how to do One Sheet Wonder with a 6 by 6 inch piece of paper. Most of Stampin' Up's designer series paper comes in either 6 by 6 inch squares or 12 by 12 inch squares, which are good for things like big scrapbooking pages, but you can also cut those down. So if you don't have a 6 by 6 inch paper, you can certainly cut down your 12 by 12 inch paper into those 6 by 6 inch squares and then do the projects I'm going to show you today. The other thing I'm going to do slightly different is I'm going to show you how to make tags because Christmas is coming up quickly and everybody needs Christmas tags to put on their gifts. And some of these ideas, you could simply stick them on the front of a card if you don't want Christmas tags, but the idea is still the same. So I've designed this up, and if you want to take a screenshot, those are the measurements. I've put the first measurements in inches because it's a 6 by 6 inch square, but I've also put down the rough centimeters because here in New Zealand we actually use most of our paper is in metric, so we usually use centimeters here. So this is just showing you roughly the ideas and designs I came up with. Now I've pre-prepared most of them, but I haven't finished making the tags. So I will show you how to cut your paper, and then I will show you the tags that I have ready to try to make in the video. So there you go. So with this, you essentially have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces in the end, and so you could make 7 tags, or if you were doing cards, you can make 7 cards. You can even cut some of these in half and use them like that on the projects you're doing, or even create more like this. I've got a 3 by 2 inch piece here and a 3 by 2 inch piece here, but I could cut one of them in half and have a 2 by 1.5 inch, or I could cut it long ways and have a 3 by 1 inch strip. So you can come up with different ideas to cut your paper. And if you look it up online or look at the other videos, you'll come up with lots of different wonderful ideas. And it's a great way to use your paper up. So if you've got paper sitting around and maybe you cut a few bits for card fronts, and then you have a little bit left, this might give you ideas how to use those little scrap pieces. So the paper I'm going to use is the Take a Bow 6 by 6 inch designer series paper. That's 15.2 by 15.2 centimeters. And most of my pack's gone because I've been using it lots. It has 4 different designs and they're double-sided. And with these designs I'm going to show you, some of them I use either side. But I'll cut this piece up I've already got a piece cut up that I'm going to use for my projects, but I'll just cut this up so you can see how it's going to work. One thing to remember when you're doing this is if you have directional paper and you want your design to go a certain way, like for this long one here, on my tag, it sits this direction. So if this were directional, I'd want to make sure that I cut it the correct direction. But for this, the paper isn't necessarily directional. It doesn't matter which way you cut it up. It's going to be fine. But when you are doing a one sheet wonder, that's one thing you need to keep in mind is if anything is going a certain direction. I'll just get a piece of paper to show you briefly what I mean. Some people might be confused. Now, I'm actually going to give you a sneak peek of some products that are coming out online only. So you can only find these if you go online and look. I believe they're available to customers from the 5th of November, and this video will be live after that. So this fabulous new 12 by 12 inch designer series paper is called Utterly Adorable, and it is. So when I'm talking about directional, as you see this paper here, this sheet here, everything is going one direction. If I turn it that way and stuck it on a card, it would look silly because the otters are facing the wrong way. The back side of it is basically directional as well. You can see the fish are going this way and that way. If I were to cut it up and use it this way, the fish would be going up and down, not side to side. So that's what I mean by directional. Whereas the paper I'm going to use today, it doesn't matter. It's kind of a interesting design, but it doesn't matter which direction you're going. Now, since I teased you with this otter paper, I'm going to show you the other pieces, just because you're probably wondering. And who knows, maybe somebody else in the hop has used the new product because it is going live soon. For this pack, you get 2 sheets of each design and they're double-sided. So again, there's a directional paper. But the back side, yep, is directional as well. So you see the fish going that way. So this wouldn't work unless you knew which direction you wanted your designs to go. Let me show you the other sheets. So this paper, as I said, is going to be online only. And being a demonstrator, you get early access to things. So that's why I already have it. So this one, if you're a scrapbooker, would make a fabulous page. Look at this, a whole scene of otters. And again, that's directional. So if you cut that up, you'd have to make sure you cut with everything facing the correct way. And the back of that one, that's non-directional. So that one is just a whole bunch of, I'll show you closer. Looks like seabed rocks and things. So it wouldn't matter whether it was going that way or that way. But the other one on the other side would matter. You wouldn't want it to go sideways or upside down. Here's another beautiful otter scene. These are directional as well. There are stamps and dies that are going with this set, and some of the dies will cut out some of these otters here. So again, you wouldn't want your otters going sideways. But that ocean, if you went that way, yes, it would look up and down, but that could be a waterfall, or if you designed it right, it wouldn't matter because the background is just a lovely blue. Actually, I think these are river otters. Yeah, they are river otters, so that would have been the river scene. And there we go. We got more directional otters. And then that is non-directional. That looks kind of either like mud at the bottom of the river or rocks. It could be. And then here we go. Another directional. The seaweed and plant life is going that direction. However, on the back, again, we have more water. But it wouldn't be so bad if you had the water going the wrong way. So that was a sneak peek. I wasn't planning to show you, but okay. So that will actually be available once this video is live. So you will be able to order that. You'll have to go online at a demonstrator's website and look at the online exclusive section, and you'll see all the lovely otters and all these other products coming out. So back to this paper. We're going to cut it. So I'll get my trimmer out, and As I said, it's 6 by 6, so that's a full 6 inches, that's a full 6 inches. It's not directional, so it doesn't matter which way you're going. However, when you cut it, if you notice this, I've got a line through the middle, and that's at 3 inches, so that would be the best one to cut first, and then cut your other ones. Because if I try to cut some of these shorter ones, I might cut through my long ones. So I'm going to cut it like this to start with. So that's 3 inches there. So 3 inches or 7.6 centimeters. And then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to cut that piece, which is 3 by 2, or actually I could cut this, which is 3 by 4. So I know that's 3 inches, so now I'm going to go to 4. And now I have a 3 by 4 and a 3 by 2 inch piece, and I could use either side. Now the piece left over, I know that's 3 inches, and that's the full 6 inches. So now I'm going to cut these sections here. So I have a 3 by 2 and a 3 by 3/4. So we'll slide it over to the 2 inch. And now I have another 3 by 2, which I already had. So now I got 2 of those. And now I want 3/4 of an inch. So I'll just pop it there. And that's 3 by 3/4. Now this one here, I want the top part to be 2.5 inches. So that's 2.5 by 2.5 and 2.5 by 1.5. And then I'll have that little piece left over. So the easiest way to do that section is to turn it this way now. So turn it there and do your 2.5. Which is now given us our little leftover, which is 1/2 by 3 inches. Now, most people would throw that out, but I've used it in one of my projects. It's also good for at the bottom of cards. Okay, so now so that's 2.5, and now I want to cut that. So this needs to be, I want a 2.5 by 2.5 inch square. So I know that's 2.5, so turn it sideways to give me another 2.5, and that leaves me with 2.5 by 1/2. All right, so that's the paper cut up. So in the end, you end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces. Now you could combine them on cards. So I could put, if I did a card, I could actually just use those 3 pieces on the front of a card and put a sentiment on there. But I'm actually going to do 7 different tags with them. I think that's what my plan was. We'll see. So I'll just pop that over there, and I held it up earlier for you to get a screenshot. So if you want, you can do a screenshot now. It's fairly simple. So let's make some things. So the items that I'm using today, I'm using the Perennial Postage dies. So some of them are using the Perennial Postage dies. I'm also using the Stylish Shape dies. So we've got circles and tagged pieces, like label pieces, and some squares. So I'm using a few of those. And from the Merriest Trees stamp set, die set rather, I'm using one of the trees. This little bit, which you might not know what it's for, and I'll show you soon. And it has a big tag in it, so I'm using that tag as well. So those 3 pieces I've already used. I'm also using some of the words from the Merriest Trees, which goes along with that die set I just showed you. So I've got the We Wish You a Merry Christmas, and I've done the Hoping Your Home is Filled with the Spirit of the Season, and To You and Yours. But we've also got the lovely Love and Joy. And with that set there, it's got some rectangles. Now those, I believe, are supposed to be like the base of the trees, but you could use those for tags. And it also has like a little tag one there too. So lots of good ideas from that set. Then I've also used some of the Peaceful Season stamps. Christmas, Peace and Joy. I think I used a Season of Wonder and Happiness. Love and Joy to You. And I've also used the, I think I used the Happy. And you can also, with this set, if you bundle it, you can get the dies that goes with the set, Peaceful Season dies. And those are the dies there. So I did Christmas and I cut it out, and I've used these banner ones, that smaller square one that has cutouts to put ribbon through, and this beautiful rectangle there. So I've already cut everything and prepped it all to make it a quicker video, as well as I didn't have a lot of that paper left over, and I just wanted to make sure that I could do some tags the way I liked. Okay, so we'll start with the simplest. So from what we've cut, I will show you how I used it. So that was our cutout there, and we've got our pieces basically there. Just turn them over to make it easier to see. Okay, so that's what we've cut out. Hopefully you can see that. That's what we've cut out. So one of the easiest ones to do is using this 2.5 by 1/2 inch piece. So I cut out my paper. I did the striped ones. So that's that piece there. And I simply stamped and heat embossed the words "Love and Joy to You" and die cut it with the Peaceful Season dies. And I'm just going to pop that up on, I'll move that out of the way for now. I'm going to pop that up with some dimensionals, and that's that tag done. So when you get to the end of the dimensionals, I just cut the edges. And I just cut them in sections, so they're in half. I could use the whole bit, but I like to be a bit more cautious when I'm using my products so I don't run out. Because quite often I forget to buy those the items that you use all the time, like your glue and your dimensionals and things like that. So I'm just pop a dimensional there, and another one there, and just one in the middle. And then I'll just pop this up, and that tag is done. So this one I could poke a hole in the one side and put a string on it if I want, or I could put it on a card. So for this I could go up higher and have more of the red. I could off-center it maybe, you know, and have it sticking out the side. But I'm just going to put it right, try to put it in the center. There you go. And so there's a tag. I could pop a hole in there and then have a ribbon on there, or I can just stick it straight onto the package like that. So there's one done. Told you that some of them are quick and easy. Now the next one is using the 3 by 3/4 inch piece. So there it is there. I've already popped a hole in it. Now you can either do that with a hole punch, or if you don't have a hole punch, this die set here, see that set die there? So you have one die that will cut a hole. This one will cut a piece to cover up the hole if you want, but that one you can use just to cut a hole on the edge. Okay, so I've already cut the hole there. I've gone ahead and stamped the Joy and Love to You again. This time I did it in red, and then used the banner die to cut that out. And I'm just going to pop that up on this section. Oh. And I think actually before I do that, I'm going to, before I stick it down, I'm going to put my ribbon through the edge. So ribbon choices or thread choices, we've got our Baker's Twine Essential Pack, which is great because it has lots of different colors. You can use your Stampin' blends to color any of these, like the white, I could color it a different color. Other products I've got that I'm going to be using are the Cherry Cobbler and Gold ribbon. So there you go. It is satin ribbon, and it's 1/4 inch or 6.4 millimeters. I'll be using that. Or you can also just use some, this I think is finished, the Elegant trim, but we do have a gold trim coming out on the online exclusive, so you could just use some cord if you need. So for that, I thought I would just make it nice and simple, stay with the color theme of red and white. So just grab a piece of trim, a cord, and I can tie it through there, or if I tie it first, I can loop it through. Now, if you want to use it as actual gift tags and have names on the back, then I suggest you cut a piece of basic white cardstock for the back of the designer series paper, and then you could simply, so I just tied a knot, and then you could put a from and to on the back. So just weave that through. There you go. Put my loop through, and then just stick my knotted side through the loop. Okay. Now we'll just put our words on it, and that's just a simple little tag. Again, we could put this on the front of a card if we wanted to. So I did that first because the words goes almost right to the end. There you go. So there you go. So put some white cardstock on the back if you want to put somebody's name on that, but there's a little tag. So another tag, tag number 2. So now we are going to go a little more complicated. So this one is using one of the 3 by 2 inch pieces, and I used this die here to cut it. There we go, that die there. I used it to cut it down, so I've got the shape on the edges. And then I cut another piece of white card. So I have another piece, same exact size. So if I put them over each other, I could do that and have words on the back, but I'm going to put them a little askew. Then with the Peaceful Seasons, I stamped Peace and Joy in gold and heat embossed it, and stamped it and then heat embossed it in gold, and then die cut it out, and then used a bit of that ribbon. So I'm going to use some dimensionals. No, actually, I think I'll just glue that one down. So I'm going to glue it kind of at a bit of an angle so it just looks interesting. So a little glue in the center there. Just at a bit of an angle so you can sneak a peek at the bit behind it. And then this one I'm going to pop up with dimensionals. I haven't stuck the ribbon down, I've just put it through the loops. See how it has the little loops? So I've just stuck it through the loops. So what I'm going to do with the dimensionals, this time I'm going to use the full dimensionals. And I'm going to overlap the ribbon. I'll bring it up to the camera in a minute. So the dimensionals are actually going to hold the ribbon in place. I should probably put some tape on there as well, but I hadn't thought that through. Because if you pull on that, it would pull it out. But now I've got the dimensionals there. It's not pulling. But you could put some tape there to hold it in place. So now I'm just going to pop that back off. And then I could go straight up and down, or I could go at an angle, or I'm just trying to think. Might go just slightly angle that way, just to make it interesting. So put it on however you want, and now that already has the holder for the tag. If that's sticking out too much, what I was thinking, I knew there was something I was thinking to do, is just using a glue dot, put a glue dot behind there. And then another glue dot inside the ribbon. Use my scissors to pick it up. I don't know if you've ever tried that. Just stick your scissors on. So I've got a glue dot behind, so that'll hold that part of the ribbon down. Oop. And then I'm just going to put a glue dot between each ribbon. There. Get my scissors off of it. And then that holds that in place as well. So that holds the ribbon, and then if I decide to tie that on something, I can. But I can also use the back to put a message. So that was made out of one of the 3x3s. That was die cut. So there's 3 of them down. Now, let's see what I did with the other 3x3. This one's slightly more complicated. So I had another 3x3. Sorry, not 3x3, 3x2. So that was a 3x2, this is a 3x2. So another 3x2. And this time I've die cut the tag that was from the trees dies. I've decided I'm going to use it this way around. Now, if I glue that down, see the edges stick out and we cover up the hole? So I want to angle the edges so it looks like it was meant for this tag. The easiest way to do that is, because I got to try to keep the same amount of space between them. So if you just slide it up a little bit, and this might be a trial and error. So now I've got a bigger gap at the bottom, but that's almost about twice the gap that the sides are. Okay. And then holding it in place, turn it over, and just snip off the edges straight along there. Oop. Try not to let it go. Straight along there. You could, if you can't hold it in place, you could draw a line, turn it over, draw a line, and then snip the line. And oh, there we go. And now that should, that's nearly given us the angle we want. The second one's not quite as good. I might do it up a little bit further. This one didn't look, I might have moved. Yeah, because this one's much better on that side, so. And then slide it down, and yeah, that's the size I want. So now I have about the same amount of white going around the edges. Don't worry about the hole there. If you want it, you could cut through the hole, but I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm going to stick this one down. A bit of a glue. And actually, if you did want, before I do that, I'll just show you. If you did want to make sure that you had the hole showing, you could simply die cut again. So you could put your paper down and then die cut just through that hole. So I might do that. I'll glue it down first and it'll be in the place I want it to be. And then I will just do a little die cut. I'm just going to half cut it, only up to where the hole is. So we're going to stick that on where I want it to go. And also running it through the machine will help to give it the pressure. So it doesn't go all the way up to the edge, but I mean, I could have made the paper further up the edge, but I wasn't really concerned. Now, if I put that back over here and it lines up with the little grooves and just run it through until that goes, I'll get a circle where I want it to be. So I did that. Oh, where are we? There we go. I got a new setup with my phone, so I'm not quite sure where everything is. So can you see that? So I ran the die through just to get the bottom part of that circle to cut it. So there we go. So now you can see the circles there. So now there was another piece in there that you can cut out. So it cuts out like this, and it has a score line in the middle, and you fold it, And that's a reinforcement for the hole. And then we can put our ribbon through there. So we'll just put a bit of glue on here. Now if you didn't want to deal with the glue, if you had put a little bit of adhesive sheet on the back before you die cut your cardstock, then you don't have to try to get your glue in the right place. And then just pop it there, wiggle it into spot so I can't see it through the hole, and then just push it over. It just gives a nice finished look to your tag, because this looks more like a traditional tag. And there's room on the back. You could put your to and your from on the back there, but we're not done yet. So that was using the paper. I went ahead and stamped in white and heat embossed the words, "We wish you a Merry Christmas." And there's one of the tree dies that cuts that out perfectly. So I'm going to pop that up with some dimensionals, and that's where having partial dimensionals is good, because you can get right up into the top of your tree as well as into the edges. And so these partial dimensionals just fit nicely in the edge. And then when I have a weird shaped one like that, I can either cut it smaller, or in this case, I'm just going to pop it in the middle. So pull the backs off your dimensionals. And pop that down. Yeah, I guess we'll put it straight. And then I heat embossed and die cut the words "to you and yours." And I'm going to pop that down here. Now I want it to be slightly higher than what I've already got. So I'm going to put a couple layers of dimensionals. And for this one, I'm going to use the mini dimensionals because they're the perfect size for that. Okay, so the mini dimensionals just fit perfectly inside everything. And then if I put it on there now, it's going to be the same height as the tree. But if I add another layer, so if I popped it down now, it's going to butt it right up against the tree. But if I want it to actually stand up a bit, I'll put another layer of dimensionals there. And these dies, there's this small one and a larger one. When you die cut them, if you don't want the banner, you can easily snip off those edges and just have a rectangle. But this also allows the banner to go further down, and I think, no, that's not going to work there. So what you do to give it a bit more height, take the backs off your dimensionals, and put another layer on. The backs are sticking to me. Okay, so then put another layer. So right on top of your other dimensionals, you just put another dimensional. And this allows you to get double the height. Now, because this is a tag and not going through the mail or anything, that's okay. If you were posting something in the mail, you wouldn't want to have double height because it makes it too thick and then it costs more money to send, and postage is already very expensive anyway, so we don't want to add anything else. So now that is 2 dimensionals high. So it's going to stick out further than the tree. Okay, get those backs off. If you're not sure if you got the backs off, if you just tap it, you can feel, or if you put it at an angle, you can see the shininess showing through. So this is going to go on to here at the bottom. I might have put that one too far over. There we go. There we go. So to you and yours, and now let's get something on the top. So I'm going to use the white, but I'll just add a little interest by bringing out the ribbon. That's the wrong red. No, that's cherry cobbler. So we'll just go with the white. And I could have colored this green. That would probably look really good if I'd colored the cord green. So this time I'm going to go through and then tie it on. So there's different ways you can do your tags, so I'm just going to tie this one in a knot, and then I could use it as a tag. I could hang it on the tree, so then I could tie it onto the gift. So there's our fourth tag. All right. So now we got 3 left. We got 3 left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, we do have 3 left. I got one hiding. Okay. So now we do the square, which is a 2.5 by 2.5 inch. So what I did is with the dies, the stylish shape dies, I cut a square. So I cut the largest square in garden green to match my designer series paper. And then that 2.5 inch square piece fits perfectly on there. So I could use that side or I could use the other side, but that to me is too busy. So I'm going to use this side and I'll just glue it down. Pop that down there. And see, this is not directional, so it doesn't matter which way I stick it. Plus, if I stuck it upside down or a different way, I could turn it around. Okay, now I've heat embossed in gold A Season of Wonder and Happiness in that larger banner die. And I did it in gold because I'm using this from one of the ephemera packs that are in the current Christmas mini catalog. And I'm going to put that there. Now before I do that, I thought, oh, you know, I want to put a hole for a tag somewhere. So where should I put it? I think I'll put it there. So I could run it through and do the tag thing, or I could just simply use a hole punch, which I will do in a minute. So first I'll put the words on. Now because the banner hangs off the edges, I'm not going to put any dimensionals on those banner edges because it's going to hang off. I'm just going to do it in the center there. And I've got one left from this guy. And then I cut strips off down the middle to give me half dimensionals to use on things like this. So I can just cut straight through the center. So that's how I usually do it, just cut through. Then I have halves. And put a half on there. So with the designer series paper, you can use it in lots of ways. I mean, you could even, you know, make boxes and treat bags and all sorts. So I'm going to pop that right down at the bottom, cover all the DSP. Now if I didn't want the edges sticking out, I mean I could cut them off, but you see this is the perfect width. So I could snip these off if I didn't want them up there. And in fact I could actually glue them down and they will look like it's definitely popping up a banner. Then let's put some dimensionals on the back of our Santa sleigh. Oh, yeah, that guy's making up his own mind. Come here. And just another one. I don't go overboard with dimensionals. One, because, you know, just throwing money away if you use too many. And two, because I'm not giving them to people that should be ripping things apart. So we're going to put our sleigh off center there. And then I'm going to pop a hole in the edge here. Now if I use the, want it to use the die for the hole, I'd have to do that before I put anything on top because it would squish everything. So we're going to do that. Because we have a bit of gold showing through there, let's see if I'll use this ribbon. And one thing you can do if you're using a fancier ribbon and you don't want to waste it by using too much, you can just make it a feature by using a little bit, and then you can tie something around the edge. But I was thinking this will be our tag holder, so I'm going to bring it up to about there, snip it off, give me a nice clean end, and then I am going to attempt to tie a knot in the end of it. So let's see. I need it to stay down, so we'll use my glue to hold it down. Use what you have. So I'm going to tie a bow or a knot, actually probably a knot on the end. And I'll show you closer when I'm done because you might not be able to tell what I'm doing. I'll tie a knot. This is where you need somebody's finger to push it in place. I've actually got something I can use. I forgot about our heat embossing kit. We've got this great tweezers that holds themselves shut. So if I pull that tight and grab it with the tweezer, so the tweezer is actually holding it shut. So now I can set that down and use that to finish tying my knot. So another great tool that you can get from Stampin' Up. That's part of the heat embossing kit. It comes with the tweezer, the embossing buddy, and the tray. I'll try to remember to put that in my description below. So now, there we go. Save the day. So now I've just tied a little white cord around the end. Just a little knot so it will hold the ribbon in place. So if you wish to use that as a tag, there you've got like a diagonal tag. Now if you want to write names and stuff, you can put it on the back, or you could add an extra piece of white card to the back if you want it. So I just did that diagonally because I've had that kind of offset there. So that is tag number 5. So let's see what we can do with this teeny tiny piece. You're probably thinking that's way too small for a tag. Well, it sort of is. So that's the piece I had here. I'm going to use that side of it. I've heat embossed in white, hoping your home is filled with the spirit of the season. And I'm going to stick that on top of there. Now, that looks like it's way too small of a tag, which it is. But wait, there's more. So let's see, that goes. Yep. Just a little bit of glue on here just to catch that. So we're just going to pop that up so it covers. There we go. I think I like it like that. There we go. So just got that covering. Now you could put a hole in there and that could be your tag, and then you could just write something on the back. But I went a step further. So using the circle, the largest circle from the Stylish Shapes, I die cut the circle, and then I used the Painted Trees embossing folder, put the circle in and lined it up with just the one tree and embossed it. So I've got a tree on the circle in the garden green, and that is going to be, and this was from the ephemera pack. So I'm going to pop a dimensional on the back there. The best thing is probably a mini, I would say. Mini dimensional. Give our tree some bling. So put the star right on the top of our tree. Now if you want it to pop a hole in there to make it a tag, I'd say pop it behind the tree to have it hidden. And you could put white cardstock to have words on there. But then I'm just going to put this down at the down here at the bottom with some dimensionals. Now this one's much wider, so I'm going to just use the full large dimensionals. Just a couple should do. It also helps to hold that paper in place. And I'm just going to pop that up there. Let's see, a little bit of the tree out the bottom. So just a bit of the red and green. And I did it crooked. I have a habit of doing things slightly crooked. Yeah, that's better. There you go. And so I could put a hole there to turn it into a tag, or I could stick that on a card. Put some white on the back if you want to put a message on there. So that's number 6. So that was with that tiny little piece. So you can use the tiny ones in lots of ways. I mean, we've got the tiny ones there and the tiny here. So our last piece, 3 by 4 inch piece. Here we go. What are we doing with that? Well, went back to using the Perennial Postage. Cut a piece of brown cardstock. There we go. And that's the second largest by the looks of it. Move those over. So then we've got our 3 by 4 inch piece, fits perfectly right there in the center there. We got that. Okay. I'm going to stick that down with some glue. Or you could use tape if you want, whatever adhesive. I always use glue because it's quick and easy, and you get wiggle room if you need to wiggle it. Now you notice there's actually a bit more room at the top and bottom of this one. If that bothered you, you know, if you're really picky about how it sits, you could die cut again to get less showing at one end or the other. So we got that. Now I've stamped the wishing you and yours and die cut it in that banner die. I've got a piece from the ephemera pack. Nice little hot chocolate there. I've stamped and die cut the word Christmas in red, so I'm keeping just the red, white, and brown theme here. And then I've white embossed, heat embossed the word happy on some red card and just cut that. So that's how we're going to have everything. So we'll pop this one down with a few dimensionals. I always like to make things stand out a bit. A little bit on the edge there. So I generally go around the edges with my half dimensionals, and then I'll usually just pop a big one in the center if it's a big enough piece. So that's going to go in the center. Not quite. Be off-centered because we got things above and below. Actually, I think this one I want it to, before I did that, I want to use this die. Got this little funny shaped die there. That can be used to give you a space to put your ribbon. So before you put anything else down, now the reason I didn't do it earlier is because I wanted to make sure my DSP was down. So I'm going to die cut that, and then I'm going to come back and put the other elements on. Okay, so now I have that shape to put my ribbon through. And put this off to the side so we got room for the word Merry. And then pop Christmas up. You can see I actually stamped the other side. Didn't like how it came out. So remember, there's always two sides to every piece of cardstock. So to make this quicker, I'm just going to pop some smaller dimensionals down. Not as easy to see when you have writing in the way. And can I fit one? No, I think they're too wide for that. So I'm just gonna, so with your dimensionals, don't waste them. You got edges. So you can just snip a little piece off the edge if you've got a really skinny area to cover. So I'm just gonna take that little piece there. And I'm going to stick it on the C of the Christmas. So I cut that just to fit that little skinny area. And always check before you stick it down to make sure nothing's showing through. And so this is our lucky last. So now you know how you can make tags from just one piece of designer series paper, a small piece. Bigger piece, you'd be able to make lots more tags. And you could, you know, come up with all kinds of ideas for, just realized having that on there. I don't need that on my C because it's hanging off the edge. That was too close to the edge. I didn't realize my word Christmas was so wide. There we go. That's better. So, this is quite a big tag, this one here, so you could even turn it into a card, put some white on the back and have a complete message there. So we'll pop Happy Christmas up. And then we'll put our other part and then some more ribbons. So some of these I might put white on the back later so I can turn them into actual tags you can write on. So we'll just have that say Happy Christmas, and then we got wishing you and yours. Now I'll put the ribbon through first. Let's see. So I'll put some gold ribbon in there just because it's very pretty. And that just adds a little bit of bling. You could also add, you know, some bling to any of these projects, just some other embellishments if you have. And for this one, I've done it long because I'm going to try to tie a knot in the end. Oop. Okay, try again. Things don't always go to plan on camera. So I'm going to try to tie the knot in the end. And this is probably where I should use the tweezers to pull it through. If I can't get it done, I will do that. Just that second little one. Nope. That's right, the second little one doesn't want to go through. So let's try this again. See if I can get my tweezers to assist. So come in through. Now, you're probably thinking, why didn't you make it longer? But one, I didn't want to waste. And two, it's going to be shorter once the knot's in. There we go. Got the knot in there. There we go. You just slide it up. Slide it up. And I can just pull the ends to tighten it up a bit. And then I'm just going to add some white, so it's not as floppy. As you can see, it's flopping around. So if I add some white here, this time I'm going to do a bow. See the knot coming down. Get my tweezers again. And I'm going to do a bow. I know it probably looks very messy on screen because you can't see very close what I'm doing, but it is working. There we go. Hold them back a little to make my bow tighter. There we go. There's my bow. Now, I did all that before I put the last sentiment on, otherwise I'd be getting it all messed up. So now my bow doesn't want to sit right, but that's okay. And now the last message is going to sit that way, so we'll just put a couple big dimensionals on there. And we are nearly done. So I'm just going to put that at a slight angle, and that also helps to kind of cover up that hole. And so that's the big last one. So that's what the biggest section. So if you want it to make big ones like this, then simply cut your cardstock in 3x4. So if you did that, you'd end up with two 3x4s, and then you would have a 6" by 2" piece. So you could cut that. You could either use a long strip, or you could cut that into smaller pieces. You could either do a 4x2 and then have a skinnier tag here. So this just gives you an idea of how you can make lots of different things. So there you have it. We've got 7 tags made with one sheet of 6x6" DSP. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And don't forget to click the links. I'm trying to get these so you can see them better. Click the links to hop over to the other demonstrators videos to see lots of other One Sheet Wonder items being done. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.